Hello everybody and welcome back to Red Eagle Politics. Make sure you guys like this video down below and subscribe to the channel if you are new. So last night was debate night and oh boy, it definitely exceeded all expectations in all of the wrong ways for Joe Biden. And it's astounding. I still could barely believe what happened last night. Biden called for this debate because he was down in the polls, and he was actually losing ground in the polls leading up to the debate. And he needed a decent performance to just stay afloat. He called for a June debate because he was losing. He needed something to pick him up in the race, and definitely something that would possibly make Trump look bad. And he got a CNN debate. He got a debate with two biased moderators who did a surprisingly fair job. And he got all the rules that he wanted, and he got a week to prepare for it in a basement. And the second he walked out on stage, you could tell this was not going to go well for him. I don't even know how they let this guy do it altogether. And for the first time in a CNN debate poll of the 5 debates that Donald Trump has done, not only was Donald Trump leading their snap poll, because he lost every other one by like double digits, according to the snap poll. I'm not saying he lost the debates, but CNN snap polls typically have a pro-Biden bias. And you look at this, he won 2-1. He's at 67% and 33% for Biden. And going in, 55% expected Trump to win the debate, 45% expected Biden. It was absolutely brutal for Joe Biden. The guy goes out there and he just looked weak. He looked old. He looked like a meme caricature, just an exaggeration of a meme caricature even, of what the Republican sphere, conservative media has basically been saying for months and months on end. He definitely matched the expectations, the wrong expectations. In fact, he beat the wrong expectations in all of the wrong ways. And the whole media, they're not talking about anything Donald Trump said, and he did well. We'll talk about his performance. But the main takeaway is Joe Biden, is he going to step aside? And apparently he's not. They're still saying he's not. Obama, who arguably has the most poll at the DNC, is saying that, it's just one bad debate performance. We're going to stand with Joe. Joe's handler, also known as his wife, is basically saying, you did great. It's honestly elder abuse what they're doing to this guy. He goes out there and makes a fool of himself on the debate stage. Trump going on CNN, people were worried. I said, no, he works well under pressure. Maybe the problem was there wasn't enough pressure, because not only was the moderation relatively fair, but Joe Biden was so abysmal and so weak. Whenever Trump was just hitting him on anything, he just looked like he didn't want to be there, but like he also looked like he was, at his wake. It was hard to watch for a lot of people, and it was not a good look for Joe Biden. It's not like, it's like the debate is close or whatever. It was not close. People that say, it was all optics that Biden failed on. He actually did well in substance. Fake news, as we know. Obviously, optics are 80% of it. We know that's how debates work. Nixon in 1960. A lot of people that listened to the debate on the radio had a different view than who listened to it or who watched it on television. This time really didn't matter where you were listening to. Biden was stammering around, but the optics were worse probably on the TV. It was bad all around, but in terms of what he was saying, again, I don't believe he really won the argument either. We talk about his track record. It's so abysmal. He had to go out there and polish a turd and look like he was somewhat coherent and kind of make the Republican narrative about him collapse a little bit. And he didn't do that. He didn't do that whatsoever. He went out there and, again, 2-1 in the CNN poll. That's brutal. But we could even look at the other numbers. After the debate watchers, 48% are only considering Trump. Only 40% are considering Biden. 2% are considering both. 11% are, they're not looking like they're going to consider voting for either of these candidates. But you look at this, who better address concerns about ability to handle presidency? 48% said Trump, 23% said Biden. On top of that, it wasn't just Biden failing. His favorability went down 6% among debate watchers, but Donald Trump, his favorability went up. It's not like they saw both candidates and, they were reminded of how much they didn't like Trump. No, Trump's favorable rating went up, and I think he did a very good job in terms of remaining calm Didn't really interrupt, even though you really couldn't based on the debate format, which I think was genius that Trump agreed to. Some people didn't like that, but overall, it was a net positive for him. He was much more reserved. He was more with it, and he brought everything back to immigration. He said, we have jobs. All the new jobs are going to illegals. CNN fact-checked him after, and they said it's not true. It's like, no, it is largely true. If you look at the net gains, it has gone almost exclusively. New jobs have gone almost exclusively to non-American-born individuals, many of which are illegals. Trump was 100% right on that. You talk about how we handled 1-6, because that was like the whole thing. Oh, they're going to trap him with 1-6. They're going to trap him with democracy, the election stuff. I think he handled it well. You know what he said? He said, you know what, on 1-6, we didn't have an open border. We didn't have all this chaos. We had a strong economy. We had low inflation. And that was just brilliant, in my opinion. I'm sure he did prepare that line. But Biden didn't really have a lot of preparation, and all he did was focus on lies. You look at the Democrats, they're coping. They're saying he had a cold and a stutter. Not true at all. First of all, this guy had a cold, I guess. He's had a cold going on for 5 years now. He's had a stutter for 5 years. He never had a stutter in 2012, so the stutter just magically reappeared, and it's getting worse and worse. It's called cognitive decline. Whether he overcame a stutter as a young man or whatever is completely besides the point. This is cognitive decline. You cannot defend this at this point. The CNN, MSNBC throwing him under the bus. It's just abysmal. Republicans, after every Trump debate, the media said he lost. They were not acting the way the Democrats are acting. They're acting unhinged. Many of them are saying, oh, this is abysmal. Many people, Reddit, Twitter, they're saying replace this guy. Guys, it's just, there's no way to spin this as anything other than a massive, massive win for Donald Trump. Whether you think that he left some off the table, technically, he didn't, there were a couple questions where he didn't technically answer directly. But again, bringing it back, when he's asked a question about like childcare or some issue that not a lot of people are really focusing on, he's bringing it back to immigration. Kind of still a net positive for him, because that's Biden's biggest weakness. And there were also a couple other times where Biden said things that were blatantly false. And of course, he won't get fact-checked on it either. And Trump really wasn't given much of a chance to respond in terms of the whole, abortion thing. When Biden said he would sign the 6-week ban, when Trump has said he would not sign any form of a national ban on abortion. And on top of it, you had the whole all these quotes that he apparently allegedly said, Biden's bringing them up when, they just did not happen. There's no evidence of it. And it didn't matter because Trump's favorability rating went up and Biden's collapsed. Optics are a lot of what the debate really comes down to. And Trump won on substance, in my opinion, but he more importantly decimated on optics. Biden goes out there and one of the first things he said is that we killed Medicare. It's like, what is he even talking about? And then Trump said, yeah, you are killing Medicare with all the people that you're bringing in. And that was a really good way to spin that issue as well when you look at it. And there's just so many fumbles for Biden. We could go on, but I don't understand how you prepare for a debate for a week. You spend a week preparing. Trump largely just was winging it on the fly, and he went out there and he won. And again, the election's not over, but Biden, he's supposedly going to win on the issue of abortion. What does he do when he's asked a question about abortion? He brings up how Donald Trump went to a funeral for a woman who was killed by an illegal alien, which how is that going to make Trump look bad, and how is it going to make you look good? And then he goes on to say that Americans every day, American young women are being quote unquote raped by their sisters. He said brothers and sisters. It's like, what is this guy talking about? Like, you couldn't even decipher it half the time. John Fetterman in 2022 had a decent debate performance in comparison to Biden, because you could at least even then argue, oh, well, he had a stroke, whatever. Biden, you can't defend it. This is cognitive decline. It's happened for a long time. And now it is coming to light. Democrats have no way to spin it. It's true. And we've been told for how long Biden's fine behind closed doors. Why is he good behind closed doors? And he's got mental acuity that's great, according to all of these people. Oh, he's 100% with it, according to John Tester. Yeah, really? He's sharper than anybody that Dan Goldman has spoken to, this Democrat congressman. Not true. Remember Joe Scarborough? He went out there and he said Biden is better than he's ever been intellectually and analytically. He's the best ever, really. Go watch the debate with him and Paul Ryan from 2012. It is night and day. This man is not well. He is not well. And whether you like him, whether you don't like him, whether you like Trump, whether you don't like Trump, there's no way to spin it. This was not good for Biden. Biden didn't need to just have a performance that wouldn't cause him to lose support. He needed a performance that would have caused him to gain support. And we could debate how much this moves the needle, but like I said, you got over 50 million people watching it on TV. You have, millions upon millions more who are either watching clips or saw it on social media or whatever. And again, the first 15 minutes were the worst 15 minutes for him. The rest was not good either, but those first 15 minutes, they're all that matter. And in the rest of the debate, you couldn't really make out what he was saying half the time. He was stammering. I mean, I just don't understand how they even let him do this, to be honest. I don't know what happened to his State of the Union magic. It's, obviously evident when he's not reading off a teleprompter. This guy has no brain cells that are functioning. And that's a major, major problem for him. Whereas Donald Trump, he did relatively well, and he didn't come out there and I guess you would say bully Biden, at least intentionally, when he had an opportunity to. He was relatively respectful. The one-liner he got on Biden about the mental decline was, I didn't hear what he said, and I don't even know if he knows what he said. And that's true. He said it in a nice way, and Biden just looks like he's staring off into the distance. He looked weak. And Democrats are saying the moderators were the problem because they weren't fact-checking. It's like, if Biden can't fact-check Trump in real time, he's not fit to be president. You don't need a moderator to bail you out. That proves that Biden is weak. It proves that he lost. And all Biden had were hoaxes. What did Biden say that was not misleading? His argument on the economy, basically saying, well, Trump lost all these jobs. Why? Because of COVID. You cheered on the lockdowns. Trump didn't really even want to go through with it. He was encouraging people to reopen, and you were saying that was careless back in 2020. You can't have it both ways, regardless of whatever you do. You had the strongest or fastest recovery under Trump in late 2020 compared to any other country in the entire world, in part because of Donald Trump. So again, doesn't really add up, doesn't really make sense. Biden just completely fumbled the bag altogether, and this was an opportunity he needed. He needed this opportunity to do well. He needed this opportunity. And the fallout is even worse because, they're not going to replace him. And we could talk about the betting odds, which now show Trump up by 40 points. When going into the debate, he was leading by, 20-something. Now he's up by 40. And a lot of the, downward spiral from Biden from like 35 to 23 comes from him losing support to replacements. If he doesn't get replaced, which it still would be hard to do and would, confirm Republican concerns even more, vindicate them even further, well, you know what? A lot of the money and the odds that's sitting with some of these other people would just probably go directly to Trump. He'd be up to 70-something%, possibly knocking on the door of 80. And keep in mind, before the debate in the polling, Donald Trump was leading nationally by 2 points. And these polls show that if you want to look at the polls altogether, they show that in terms of the people that are reconsidering their vote, they're almost all on the Biden side. 5% said they changed their mind. Trump probably got 4 of that 5%. If that's true, or even if Trump gets all 5, which is also possible, well, Donald Trump would go in the aggregate to 49.1%. Meanwhile, Biden would fall to 42.8%, which is 6.3%. Now, do I expect that to happen? Probably not. It's a shock wave. It's still lofty. We'll see what happens for sure. But still, this was not a good look for Biden. He probably does fall a point or two, and that's the problem. The problem is that he's not gaining. Even if the numbers don't move, this is still a missed opportunity for him, and his blunders are going to be played in advertisements for months to come leading up to the election. And they say he's going to do the second debate. They're going to have to find a better drug cocktail for him that works. And the last thing I'll say about this is you have to understand what's going on here. and just how they're treating him like a child. I don't understand how this is supposed to help stop the bleeding, but his wife is out there, his handler, basically, and she's treating him like a child. That's how this is going. Look at this. Listen to this.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lie! Yes.
This is just abysmal. I mean, Biden doesn't even know where he is. If you're looking at him here, he's just staring off into the distance, and she's treating him like a mother with a 3-year-old, trying to console him after what was an objectively abysmal performance. You answered the questions. Well, first of all, he didn't really answer all of them directly. To be fair, neither did Trump, but that's not the point. At least you could understand what Trump was saying. In terms of Biden, he was jumbling his words all around. He did not know all the facts because, ironically, all Biden did was lie and mislead about his joke of a presidential record. That's really all it is, and the American people see it. They now can, I guess you would say, if they're on the fence, make up their minds. But keep in mind, the undecided electorate probably prefers Trump's policy anyways, and they care more about personality. And in terms of what you saw was a personality disaster first and foremost for Joe Biden. Not only did Trump get the leg up on policy, he also won the optics battle, which is the most important thing in debates, but also for undecided voters that had concerns about Trump's personality. They said he'd be unhinged, he'd be interrupting, he'd do X, Y, and Z. No, Trump just completely decimated the caricature that the left had for him, and Biden blew the caricature the right has for him out of the water. And it's just a big, abysmal loss for Biden. The worst debate performance in history that I've ever seen. Yeah, we've seen Obama in 2012, the first debate against Romney. It wasn't good. But again, Obama rebounded in the next 2 debates, and at least he could complete sentences and you could make out what he was saying. This was the worst debate performance in history by anybody at the presidential level. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media. The links are all in the description down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Red Eagle, out.